Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be doing a book haul, and these are all books that I bought fairly recently. Haven't talked about them yet in a video, and a majority of these are thrifted. Not all of them are thrifted, but I'll be sure to let you know which ones of these I did end up thrifting and how much they were. But I have quite a few books here. I've been doing pretty good about keeping up with the books coming in and how much I'm reading and things like that, which I'm going to go over in my journal kind of wrap-up video at the end of the year. I'm going to show you guys like all the books that I purchased and then how many of those books I read. But that's a whole nother thing. So the first book that I picked up was from Goodwill, and I picked this up not very long ago, but I've been wanting to read this for a while because it's been highly recommended to me from a lot of people, and it is The Road by Cormac McCarthy, and I've heard this is such a good book. This is actually a movie, I believe, and I think I did see the movie, or I've seen parts of the movie. I'm not really sure, but I'm pretty sure I've seen the movie. But I've heard this is really, really good. It's kind of like a modern classic, and it's about the end of the world, like the apocalypse, and it's about the son and his dad and kind of like them trying to survive the apocalypse, I guess. So I'm really excited to read this, and I think it's going to be really good, and I just have a really, really good feeling about this because I love survival stories, and I feel like this is just going to be one that I really like. So this was only $3.99, and I got it at Goodwill. So the next book I picked up I was really excited to see because I have another book by this author that I still haven't read yet, but I really, really want to read it. I actually started it, and then I never finished it, which I tend to do that a lot. Like I'll read the first chapter, and then I'll just like set it aside if I'm like not in the mood for it. And this is The Accidental Universe by Alan Lightman. And he also wrote Einstein's Dreams, which is the book I'm talking about that I really still want to read. I just haven't read it yet. It says, with passion and curiosity, Alan Lightman explores the emotional and philosophical questions raised by recent discoveries in science. He looks at the dialogue between science and religion, the conflict between our human desire for permanence and the impermanence of nature, the possibility that our universe is simply an accident, the manner in which modern technology has separated us from direct experience of the world, and our resistance to view what our bodies and minds can be explained by scientific logic and laws. Behind all of these considerations is a suggestion that what we see and understand of the world is only a tiny piece of the extraordinary, perhaps unfathomable whole. Which, come on. Like, that is exactly the type of thing that I love. I love philosophy, I love science, I love just like this type of thing, you know? And so I'm really, really excited to read this. I think it's going to be so good, and it's a pretty short read. Oh, this was also from Goodwill for $3.99. So the next book is a book I picked up on Amazon, but I got it used. So this is the book I picked up. It's Confessions by Kanae Minato. Now, I have heard phenomenal things about this book. Like, every time I see somebody talk about this book, they're like, what the heck? Like, I guess the twist is insane, and you just do not see it coming. And everyone always talks about the twist in this, and that is just really good. So, of course, I was curious. This is, I guess, about, like, a school, like a middle school, and something crazy happens, like some sort of accident happens, and the teacher wants to resign. But before she resigns, she wants to have one more lecture with her class, and in that lecture she wants to basically like plot a revenge or something like that. So I think that's really interesting, but that's all I kind of know about this book. But I just, like I said, heard that it is really, really good, and it's not a super long read, but I think it just sounds so interesting, and I'm really excited to read this. The next book I got was from the Bookish Box, and I swear I did not know that I paid for this many Bookish boxes. Like, I ended up canceling my order, but then like books kept coming, and I'm like, how many months did I end up being subscribed? So I think this is my last one, but I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure this is my last one. But it's good because I actually wanted to read this book. This book was on my TBR anyways, but now I just have a cool special edition of it. But the crappy thing is, though, is I really liked the cover of the regular version of this book. Like, I really thought it was a gorgeous, gorgeous cover. And I don't know if I like the special edition as much as I like the original cover, because the original cover is black and it's dark and moody, and this one is completely opposite. So this is called Blood Orange by Karina Halley, and it looks like this. This is like a fantasy, like a dark romantic fantasy, I guess. Once there was a man who fell deeply in love with a woman he could never have. When their affair was uncovered, she was brutally murdered in front of him, and he discovered he was cursed and doomed to live forever as a vampire. Over the centuries, he found his love again and lost her again until he was so broken he gave up on love entirely, sinking into the depths of depravity, losing his humanity. Then one day, she came back into his life, a student of music studying under him at the conservatory in Venice, Italy, where he is a professor. But even though he found her beautiful and intriguing, he didn't recognize his fated mate at all. Because this time, she had to hide her true self. This time, she came back as a witch whose destiny wasn't to love him, but to kill him. So it's basically a dark fantasy romance with like the enemies to lovers type of thing, which I think is really interesting. I love a good like fantasy romance, so this sounds really fun. And the cool thing about this book, okay, so the cover is okay. Not my favorite thing in the world, like the cover of the original better. However, you guys got to see the inside. So we've got this beautiful orange end pages. Like, isn't that so gorgeous? Like, if this was the cover, I would really, really love it. But this is the front of the book and the back of the book. And then the sprayed edges are oranges, which I think is really pretty. But I have to say, like, I don't know what they were thinking. This art is good. The art is good. But this vampire is not cute, and I'm like, excuse me? He's freaking weird looking. So that is the book. Hopefully it's good. I am interested to kind of see what it's like. I want to say this is my favorite edition that I got from the Bookish box. I definitely have gotten a couple that I like a little bit more. So this is another one that I actually got from the Bookish box that I think I forgot to haul and show you guys, but this one I think looks pretty interesting. But again, I don't love the cover design of this one, and it's crazy because I feel like the Bookish box has the best covers and like the best special editions, but for some reason I think I signed up just at a bad time because a lot of the special editions just weren't my favorite, which just kind of sucks. But this is what this one looks like. This is called A Kingdom of Stars and Shadows. And to me, this just looks really young, which I don't really love. I don't know, it just looks like a very young adult looking book. This is the back side. It has a little quote on it, and this is by Holly Renee. And this is the actual book. Now, don't get me wrong, I do like the naked book because who doesn't love a pink book? Like, I'm not a pink person in general, but I can really appreciate a pink book just because they're so eye-catching. So this is what the naked book looks like, and then it has this right here on the sprayed edges, and then this is what the art looks like. So I'm pretty sure that this is just like a dark fantasy, and this is the flipped jacket right here, which I think is really also pretty. Where does your allegiance lie? I am told my union to the crowned prince will determine the fate of the kingdom, but it isn't my betrothed who haunts my dreams. It's the half-breed prince who stands at his side. He is darkness and sin, and when he whispers promises of wickedness in my ear, I crave a man who I can't have. Every thought I have is treasonous. The way my hands ache to touch him, deceitful. Even my dreams make me a traitor to the kingdom I am sworn to protect. But when the kingdom is attacked, I am forced to make choices I'm not prepared for. Betray a kingdom or betray my heart. So I'm assuming that like she has to choose between the person that she's, you know, betrothed to or the man she actually loves. That's my guess. But yes, obviously a dark romantasy, which is always fun. The next book is Tessa Bailey, and I was kind of excited for this one because the cover kind of looks like It Happened One Summer, which was one of my favorite books. And this is part of the Broken Beautiful trilogy, and this is like an older trilogy that she wrote, but they just redid the covers and like released them or whatever. So I saw this, I think, in Walmart. Now here's the thing. How cute is this guy right here, right? Like, I just love the cover art on this one. Now, I don't know if I'm going to read all of the books in the Broken Beautiful trilogy, and I've kind of decided that, you know, just because you like an author doesn't mean that every book is going to be for you. Like, pick the books that have the tropes that you tend to like. And this book kind of just seemed like something I would like more than the other two in this trilogy. And I think they're companion novels, but let me tell you something. Like, give me a hot, sexy, like hard-working blue-collar man over a billionaire any day in a book. Like, I just tend to love that trope, and obviously It Happened One Summer had it, and I think that this one has it as well. And it's kind of a similar little plot line, but I think this has like the protector quality to it, where the guy is like very protective and very like just obsessed with her and like wants to always like protect her and stuff, which you guys know I love. And I just think that this sounds really, really good, and I'm kind of excited for it. So that one actually was not thrifted, but yes. So this one also was not thrifted, but I got this at my local bookstore, and I love to buy from my local bookstore because I like to support my local bookstore. And this is a book that I've been wanting to read for a while, and I'm actually extremely excited for this one. And this is called A Psalm for the Wild Built, and this is a duology, and this is what it looks like. You guys have probably seen this around. Now this is a short little novella, but this sounds so interesting, and I've heard this is so good. So this is basically about these like robots who were basically created to assist and help humans, I guess. And then they all disappear suddenly, like randomly they just all disappear. And then one day one of the robots comes back, and he is trying to like, I think, find his purpose as like the only remaining robot. I think that's kind of what it's about, but it sounds so endearing. And when I actually looked at this cover close up, it has very like Studio Ghibli vibes. So here's the little robot. Here's the little bottom, as you guys can see. So I couldn't actually tell this is what the cover looked like when other people show it in their videos because they don't really show it close up. But the cover is absolutely adorable. Like, I love this cover. So I'm so excited to read this. I want to get to this really soon. Hopefully I can pick it for my TBR in October. But yes, looks really, really good. So the next book is a book that I've been wanting to read forever, and everyone talks about this book, and I used to love this author, or this duo of authors, but then I just kind of like stopped reading them because I read one book by them and I hated it, and then I just like never picked up another book by them again. But I've heard such good things about this book, and this is like their like most well-known book, I would say, and I've never read it. So it is Christina Lauren's Love in Other Words. I think it's gonna be pretty good because I've heard nothing but good things about it, and like I used to really love Christina Lauren, so I think I'll end up liking this one. So the next one is a book that I picked up at a secondhand bookstore. It's kind of like one of those books where you like resell your books. So I brought in a ton of books to this bookstore, and I got $50 worth of store credit, which was amazing. So I bought 4 books, and this was one of them. And this is Stephen King's Pet Sematary. This is a book I've been wanting to read for years, and I was always hoping that I was going to find it at Goodwill or something, because I always see like Dean Koontz and Stephen King at my Goodwill, but they never have Pet Sematary at Goodwill, and it's probably because it's really popular and it gets picked up really quickly. But I'm really excited to read this one. Like, I've never read a Stephen King in my entire life, but I've heard that this one is like his best one, or one of his best ones. And you guys know I love animals and I love cats, and this has a giant cat on the cover, so I could not pass it up. And so I ended up picking this one up with my store credit. I have a feeling I might put this off for a while. Like, it's one of those books where I really want to read it, but it's kind of intimidating at the same time. But I do want to read it. So let me know if I should get to this sooner rather than later if you really, really love this book. And I've also heard it's like really scary. So the next book I picked up was by an author that I haven't read before, but I've heard really good things about this author, so I really wanted to try her out. And this was also at that bookstore, and this is called All the Missing Girls by Megan Miranda. And like I said, I've never read a Megan Miranda, but I know that she's pretty popular in like the thriller world, so I thought I'd give her a try and see if I like her, because I do need to get out of my author comfort zone sometimes. Like, I'm one of those really loyal people with everything, like makeup. I will use the same exact products for years and years and years and like never stray from them. And I feel like I'm like that with authors. Like, I find an author that I really like and I just read all of their books, or I want to read all of their books, or I read all the books that come out. And I feel like I need to kind of branch out in my thriller author category. So I'm gonna do some Megan Miranda and see if I like her. So this is basically about like a girl and a missing girl, and then she comes back and another girl goes missing, and it's like all this stuff, you know, missing girls trying to solve the missing girl case, that type of thing. And I think it sounds interesting. I love a missing girl case every once in a while, so especially if it's really, really unique and different. So we're just gonna try this one and see what I think. I don't know much about it, so I'm gonna go into it kind of blind, but we'll see. Next up was a book that I also found secondhand, and I can't remember where I found this one, to be honest. No, I think I actually got this on Amazon used. So I got this for a pretty good deal, I think, but I saw Jesse the Reader read this and he really liked it, and it sounded like something that I would be interested in. And it was Everyone in This Room Will Someday Be Dead. And it's about this girl who is an atheist that starts working for a church, like a secretary. And I just think this sounds like a really fun, kind of philosophical book that kind of tackles some interesting subjects and things like that. I don't know. I'm really interested in it, and it's pretty short, but Jesse said it was actually really good and he really liked it, and I have heard really good things about this. So I'm excited to read this. I think it sounds awesome. So there's that one. And then I picked up one of my favorite books of all time. So what I'm trying to do is buy my favorite books and have those books on my shelf so I can have physical copies of the books that I love, because I have read so many of my favorite books on either audio or Kindle, and I want to own them physically, so my bookshelves are books that I actually love. Like, I don't care about books that I didn't like or gave 3 stars. Like, I'll usually just donate them. But what I want my shelf to be is books that I need to read, but then also books that I absolutely loved. Like, I want all of my favorites, right? So I'm slowly kind of collecting them, and I decided to buy Josh and Hazel's Guide to Not Dating by Christina Lauren. This is one of my favorite romances. I read it probably 4 years ago or so, and I loved it. I thought it was so cute, so endearing. It was one of my favorite books, and I remember after I read it, I was like, this is why I love reading. It's like when you read books like this. I loved the 2 main characters, and this is definitely a book that I want to reread probably someday, so I decided to finally pick it up and read it. I also need to purchase The Push by Ashley Audrain, which I have been looking for at Goodwill. Like, I feel like The Push is one of those books that you would find at Goodwill, right? It was fairly popular. I could see people donating it or whatever, but I've never found it. And so I'm just kind of waiting to find that one. And then the other one that I need to find is I'm Glad My Mom Died by Jeanette McCurdy. So those are the 2 other books that I'm really looking for and just kind of like scoping out at my thrift stores. But I bought this one on Amazon, used. Then I picked up The Ex-Hex by Erin Sterling, and this is a kind of witchy contemporary romance, I guess, and it kind of takes place in a world where like magic exists and witches exist, and it's a romance. So my sister-in-law actually just got finished reading this, and she only gave it 3 stars, so I'm a little nervous. I've heard good things from some people. Like, some people love this duology and some people are a little bit more so-so on it. So I'm kind of excited to see where I land with this. I think this would be a really fun book to read in October. So I think that'll be really fun. And the font is literally humongous, which I love big font in books. Like, it makes me just read better. Like, I feel like when font gets to be too small, it's not as enjoyable to read. Like, it hurts my eyes and I like can't follow. Like, I don't know, it's like a tracking thing, I think. So I love a book with big font. I find it easier to read. So I'm really kind of excited for this one. I want to see what I think about it, and I think it'll be a really good like fall read. Now, as you guys know, I also picked up Normal People by Sally Rooney. This was also from Goodwill for $6.99. It's a little bit more spendy of a book. I'm surprised they charged $6.99 for this because it is a paperback. But I still bought it because I did want to try out Sally Rooney really bad. As you guys know, this is on my TBR for this month. So hopefully I get to that. I don't know. Alright guys, so that is it for this video. Those are all the books that I recently purchased and acquired from thrift stores and things like that. I do have another box coming in soon from Book Outlet, but I didn't want to wait for it to film this video, so that'll be in my next book haul video whenever that is going to be. And to be honest, I already kind of forgot what I bought off Book Outlet. But that is it for this video. Let me know which book I should read first, or if you guys loved any of these and think I should get to them like really soon. I'd be really curious kind of your guys' thoughts and stuff. But I think that's it. So I will see you guys in my next video, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.